Hey everyone, Cam from Inky Knuckles here. Just about to get started on our Saturday Night Art Show, the Emerald Giant edition. We got some cool Hulk art to look at, and some Hulk stuff to discuss. A few other surprises, and we may have Gerardo show up towards the end. He had some unforeseen things he had to do, so he said he'll join us at the end. So we'll get his take, but. Just to start off, it was a big week at Inky Knuckles. We brought on some artists. We announced some commission lists. We closed some commission lists. And we have a big week coming up next week as well. So first up is Warwick Johnson Cadwell. His commission list closed this last week. Warwick does some really unique, fantastic work. This was a commission he'd recently done. The commissioner has this great theme with Kid Hellboy reading comic books. So I love this perfect request for Warwick. And hey Jay, how you doing, man? When we announced the list, it filled up quite quick. So be on the lookout for more lists and more art drops from Warwick coming very soon. Next up, bear with me here for a second. I'll zoom in on this one. Dylan Burnett, surprise announcement. We'll be opening up his commission list next week. This one's going to be very limited. He's got actually a really exciting new project coming up. I can't and won't say too much about it, but he's taking a really limited number of commissions. I'm not sure which day we'll announce it next week, but subscribe, be the first to know, because I imagine that list will fill up very quick with just subscribers alone. Obviously, Dylan's known for Cosmic Ghost Rider, Ant-Man, and he's about to do some more insanely cool things. So excited about that. Next up, and bear with me, folks, we have, where is it? Vlad Legostav. Vlad, if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. Vlad joined our group last week. Vlad and I go back quite a ways, actually. A comics project both of us were doing collectively a few years back. Hopefully, I'll get it in print one of these months. But Vlad's an amazing artist from Ukraine, and he's really evolving and growing and just kind of establishing himself as just this powerhouse of an artist. And we will be opening his commission list this week as well. So be on the lookout for that. And lastly, Mr. Brett Parson, his commission list closed this week. He took on a few more than normal just because he had a little bit of an opening in his schedule. So we capped that list last week, and I'll be streaming tomorrow at 2 East, I believe. I'll do a post about it, but I'll be streaming. Brett and I will be on the YouTube Live with some very cool commissions that he's going to be working on while we chat. So don't miss out on that. It should be great. And don't miss out on Brett's commission list. I think he's got some really cool requests, and that dude's got some chops. So it's going to be a very, very cool list. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on this week's Saturday Night Art Show. First up, I'm going to bring on our resident unbiased film reviewer. Mike isn't there. There he is.
Hey guys.
Hey Mike. We've got a couple things for Mike this week. We've got he's going to do an unveiling of something. We'll get to that shortly. and he's going to review some, I don't know what, because Mike forgot we were doing this up until 6 minutes ago.
We did.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Mr. Ryan Sherwood, who's opening the Hulk vault.
Yes.
He's Hulkified.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
I thought
I got a totally
WWF.
representing today.
Yeah, we talked about this week's theme 37 million times, and Mike is definitively the smartest guy I know, but he has memory. So
I think that would indicate a level of care.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I should insult it.
Listening and paying attention are different things.
Yes. I don't think that it's that he didn't understand or remember. It's just that's where you are in the totem pole.
Good to know, Mike. Good to know. And lastly, our special guest, our resident Hulk expert, Octavio De La Rosa. Octavio, how you doing?
What's up, boys? Doing good. Thank you.
Octavio's going to show us his Hulk collection, and he's going to educate us. He's part of a group of Hulkamaniacs that I met a long time ago. Well, I met you before a lot of those other guys, Octavio, but through Statue Forum, all the Hulk art collectors.
The Gamma
there
Bros.
was
Yes.
a plethora of you guys. All with really good collections and really good taste, because you know what happens when you get the hardcore Batman guys like Carlos. Sometimes, yeah. It can get a little wonky, but
Well, I'm kind of worried now because if Ryan dips his foot into the Hulk, then that's not going to leave anything for us.
Well, I'll always leave room for you.
hey guys, well, Gerardo, I mentioned earlier, Gerardo may be joining us. He may not. He just had some stuff come up, so he's hoping to hop on kind of a little later on. So we'll go with that. First up, Octavio, why do you hate all artists that use whiteout or screen tones? Go.
Man, whiteout fades. I just don't like it. I don't
The
know.
smell? You too much when you were a kid?
Except for Gerardo. Gerardo, you're fine. You can use whatever whiteout you want to use, my friend.
I planned to put you on the spot with him here, so it didn't quite have the same effect. But I like to give you grief about that, so I thought I'd hit you up with that.
Oh, man. And then yellows. So, it's just, no, it doesn't
Have you
say
had
for over
one
years.
long? Have you had a piece of art long enough to have the whiteout yellow?
You know what?
Or
I don't have any pieces that have whiteout in it, Hulk related. I was looking at my J. Romita Jr. piece. Surprisingly, that does not have any whiteout at all. Yeah, which is amazing. Because Cam, you've seen it. It's
Oh, it's huge. Well, I was just looking at that today. Your Tim Sale pieces, no
No
whiteout
whiteout.
on those?
Nope.
Wow. Because I had the one I had from before, it had just a little bit of whiteout, but he'd asked me beforehand if he could put it on. But
yeah, Tim hasn't messed up on my pieces, so no whiteout required.
yeah, well, that Gandhi's or that one's pretty good.
Yeah, the Grundy
Yeah.
doesn't have any whiteout in it either, which is surprisingly good.
And we're
You
not
have
talking
that?
like we're not talking 3 or 4 pieces without whiteout, right? Like how many pieces do you think are in the collection that are sans whiteout? How many pieces do you have, Octavio? Is what I'm trying to ask.
What I got like over 100 pieces. I think last year I got 2 pieces with whiteout, which was my PJ Grundy and the Hickson Grundy. Those have whiteout in it.
Did you go after the rep on that one?
No, I didn't.
Okay, guys. Well, before we kind of move on here, hit you guys up with a question. 2 questions. We'll keep it simple since we're talking about the Hulk. What is your favorite rendition of the Hulk? Comics, movies, TV shows, anything. Just your favorite rendition of the Hulk. And what are you drinking? Mike, you're up.
Okay. My favorite. Are you getting a lot of feedback? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit.
I feel like this is a stall tactic.
Yeah, no, it isn't. My favorite Hulk rendition is. I hate when you ask me these questions because I can never. Go to someone else. I'll be right back.
Yeah. He's
No,
thinking.
I know what I want to say. I just can't remember.
Yeah, if anybody should get a little precursor to what's going to be asked,
Lou
I should go.
No,
Lou
no.
Ferrigno, yeah.
Yes.
I could go.
That's my favorite Hulk.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, that I remember watching the Hulk. It was
Wasn't
probably
it
reruns.
the freakiest thing in the world when he put those contacts? Like I remember being scarred as a kid seeing
The green ones, yes.
David
Oh.
Banner turn into the Hulk. Because he was David then, right?
Yeah, he was David back then.
Yeah.
See, this is great because I know none of this.
Yeah.
But I just remember him running around and then pausing from time to time to do a flex show.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool where I grew up. So, so that's my favorite Hulk
That's still
rendition.
cool, Mike. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's
it's still cool. Actually, when we socially distanced, ran into each other earlier today, that's what we did. Flex
Yes.
off. I won.
Yeah, you guys say more with your emotions with flexing than you do with words. I've seen it.
Yeah,
Mike was wearing Uggs and
I'm
nothing
wearing
else.
Uggs.
So,
That's right. I'm in my basement where there's no heat and it's cold.
Hence the hat.
Tonight, hence the hat. Tonight I am drinking, I'm going to butcher this, but it's Ron Anejo Aniversario from Venezuela. And I'm very
Is it
excited
iced tea?
because, no, it's rum. Thank you. But I found it. This is like the best rum in Venezuela. And you probably can't get it anymore because you can't get anything there. But I was pretty excited to find it in a cupboard in our house. And I plan to drink most of the bottle tonight.
Well, if you like it, I have friends that are from Venezuela, so we could get it for you.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do they? I don't think they can get it right now.
Yeah, family over there, you can ship it to them.
yeah.
I might
Would you
take
drink it?
Then we'll just
Yeah.
ship it up to you.
Okay, favorite Hulk rendition. What are you drinking?
Oh man, you know what? Growing up as a little kid, I loved that Ferrigno and Gitsby TV show. I even know when I went up to Lou Ferrigno once at a comic book convention a long, long time ago.
Oh,
Asked him
cool.
if he ever thought about dressing up as the Hulk, because if he did, man, I would be all over and take many pictures with him. He flat out, he said no. So that's why I have no pictures with Lou Ferrigno. I'm like,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, growing up, that's what got me hooked on the Hulk was watching that TV show, and I
Awesome.
still watch it too, which is still good. It's corny, but it still holds up to me.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's
And
like
then,
18. That would hold up.
Yeah, and I'm drinking a Zombie Dust. I was
Nice.
telling Cam earlier that this beer was the official beer of C2E2 when it started,
Oh, yeah.
11 years ago, 12 years ago, and Tim Seeley designed the cover label to it.
Mhm.
And
You
it's
said it's a pretty. It's hard to get now. It's selling like crazy.
oh yeah, it's always hard to find, but you know the distributor's from Indiana, Three Floyds Brewery, so
Okay,
it's good beer, really good.
cool. Ryan, you're up.
It's probably the same thing. My first exposure to the Hulk was with the TV show. Like, it freaked me out. And for some reason, one of my earliest, I guess, comic-related literature was I got a bundle of those newspaper strips. It's like a little paperback with David Banner, and it took through a bunch of years. So I have some of those strips here, actually. But the most, probably it was Secret Wars cover #1. Like, that was
Nice.
one of my first comics that my dad brought up, and I looked at it, and he's the standout on that cover. So that kind of era rendition is probably the favorite. And then
Cool.
Fix It. I love Joe Fix It.
Yeah, Fix It's hard to argue with, especially as art collectors, because it looks so cool.
Yeah,
It's such a cool design. I love Fix It too.
He's better than
but
Gold.
yeah, like it's. Yeah. He's like Wreck-It Ralph. That's what. That's the Red Hulk version of Mr. Fix It.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, for some reason I only like it. Like, I didn't like the original Fix It. Who was the artist on that again? Oh, you could probably tell us, but
Not Buscema. Was it Buscema?
no, it was. What's his name? Is Joe. Mike, you know this off the top of your head, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I have that down pat.
Got the Google machine ready.
But it was just in those first two Wolverine issues, number 7 and number 8, is when Fix-It was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what that was.
What are you drinking?
Back on the same apple syrup cider again.
Was it the
That's what I
same
have
can
the
from
most
last
of.
week?
What's that?
Is it the same can from last week?
What do you think?
Oh, surely you jest about Ryan and
Thanks for the softball, Octavio.
Yeah.
We said endless can last week, so
Yeah, I know, but that was true.
So I think because I'm not immune to these questions either. I think the Hulk TV show
Purves.
growing up was
Jeff
kind of
Purves.
what's
That
that?
was the guy. Jeffrey Purves. Wasn't that who the artist was?
oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was like the first Fix-Its, wasn't it?
Yes, you are right.
Oh, look at that. Good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Those facts.
Yeah.
That
Right.
for me is the TV show too, and it's weird because I think of there aren't a lot of like super memorable Hulk stories. There's a handful, but like the Hulk standalone stories, and Octavio, you might tell me different, but it's just weird because growing up, I didn't read a lot of, I guess the Peter David, Gary Frank Hulk stuff. I read that as a kid quite a bit. That was interesting. Professor Hulk.
Lord Hulk, yes.
But yeah, I think growing up, I always had such good memories of that show for some reason. I loved when it came on. I loved watching him turn into Hulk. And that was that was one of the first like special effects we saw for legitimate superheroes. So yeah, I thought that was quite good. But for me, it's Len Levay,
oh,
Nadura. My uncle gave this to me for Christmas, and I think I've tried it once. It's really good.
you put some
I
on Jack Souther is all you looks like you've.
Oh, he's
I heard
He's
him
sleeping right
earlier
now,
with
here.
the little Godzilla.
so. Before Mike reviews God only knows what, because he's very unprepared. But
ill prepared.
Mike has a package that he doesn't know what's in it,
Not at all.
and he's going to open it live on the show.
There you go. Just
You're right. I totally forgot about that part. So some supplies. That's the joy of working in your basement. So this is what Cam delivered and set it on the sidewalk, and then I picked it up. And then he said, threat of death of my life,
oh,
do
gee.
not open it and do not wreck it. So here I am with a knife. Very carefully open it.
I only put 2 strips of tape on there, hoping you wouldn't pull out a knife.
But I've only done the top, so now I can go like this. And I've done it perfect so nobody can see. Oh my God. This is, I think I saw something on Instagram with part of this, but this, I'm not going to do justice because I'm not set up.
Maybe take it out of the
There's-
plastic.
Take
Well,
it out of
I
the
don't know.
plastic.
Nah, don't let him take it out of the plastic, man.
Yeah. Just let me move this out of the way. And
Get that knife out again.
Probably got
Sad.
popcorn on his fingers.
Just tear it. Yeah, the chances that Mike's fingertips are food substance free are about as equally likely.
Oh, he's got
as
the
this
gloves
is
on.
the same can of beer.
He's putting on the gloves.
yes, I used to work at Sotheby's. That's why I have these. Not because I give proctology exams in the back.
Why did you bring 3 pairs to Fan Expo in Toronto?
Side gig.
Side gig.
Oh my goodness.
I can just hear it.
Yeah, you should actually have streaming Cam's face as I do this so that you guys can see the anxiety.
Yeah, it's Octavio.
Okay. So this is a piece by
Like Troy Nixie.
That's Troy Nixie.
Troy Nixie. I was so close. Sorry, guys.
Samsonite. So
Troy
close.
Nixie. I remember seeing the crocodile.
Wow.
Scroll up to
That's
the top.
insane.
And then here we are.
Wow.
Is
All right.
Ryan.
What's that?
Yeah, maybe
I can't
Ryan
think-
can describe it.
Brian can explain to you.
Yeah, it's your birthday present from last year, buddy.
What?
Yeah. So it's yours. Happy birthday last year and forever.
Oh,
There you go.
that's really cool.
Yeah, there you go. Now you have something. I hope you like the subject.
Well, I do. I don't think I'm going to be allowed to hang this in our bedroom, but I will definitely put this somewhere where I can see it.
So,
This
well,
would
Mike,
be the piece of terrible
Mike
dreams.
handles this. This is what we're looking at.
Yeah, thank you. That's.
That's an
I'm
awesome.
glad I put on the, now that I know that this belongs to me, I'm glad I put on gloves.
So this Troy just finished this late last night. This
great.
is just a picture, but Troy's gonna hit me up with a scan. Just another bombshell from Troy. These commissions that he's doing are just, you know, they're kind of these event pieces, and they take him quite a long time. And I know that he really tries to find the composition that works, especially because he lays the inks down in such a crazy manner, and there's so much going on that he likes to have the composition down perfect. So this is one of my favorite pieces I've seen all year. Cover, commission, you name it. We'll post it on Instagram. We'll post it in a few other places so people can get a closer look at it. But I think it just captures that rights and vibe. But it's definitely Troy. He's even got some tentacles in the water, and got the animals on. Yeah, what I thought was cool about this one too, and we saw it a little bit with Gerardo's Wolverine cover, is just the subtle little washes in the background. You know, he didn't go heavy on the inks in the background. He kind of created a little more depth on this piece, which is insanely cool. I didn't want to hand this one over to Mike. So,
Well, I am very touched by.
Cam, you should have given him a portfolio too, so you could put it in.
well, I debated that. I gave him Masonite because I'm like, need something heavy duty.
Yes, you guys know me.
Well, yeah, I was tired of you always looking at the art and enjoying the art, but never willing to take the plunge other than that tour of emails that you got. So I figured I might force you into it instead.
Yeah, thanks for starting me down the road to rags here.
You're welcome. Well, I don't know where you go from here.
Yeah, this piece is incredible, and I'm trying to do it justice. By
Well, the good news is you're not even on the screen, so.
well,
That didn't sound good.
no,
I saw it. The viewers didn't see it. But
Oh my goodness. He didn't have an ironing board in the back, so I'm afraid to even look at it.
hey, you stay in my laundry room.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, there you go. Hey, that's
Propped
good.
it up already. He has more art on the wall than I do.
It's in the plastic. I didn't just put tape on the.
I think it's better if everybody thinks that you didn't.
For you, Ron.
the frame shop's open this week, Mike.
Hey,
I know, actually. Essential services.
Okay, well,
it looks
that's
way better when you drink that rum with a
With the gloves,
plastic glove
yes.
on.
I just finished.
What are you doing?
okay,
I just
Mike.
wanna-
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go on. So I just want to point out that I have a light bulb over here that's on its last legs that I bought off Amazon because it was cheaper than Lowe's, and I regret that. So for about a week, I've had 0.5 hertz of blinking in my office. So this is perfect because today we're supposed to talk Hulk, and I.
So you're gonna tell him.
What's that?
That's why I suggested you pivot on your review.
So Cam's like, why don't we review Hulk? And I've never actually read a Hulk comic, like where he's like the main character. Yes, Reba, that is an amazing piece Troy did. I actually want to go pick up a encyclopedia and document which fish are in there.
The flora.
Anyway, so today I'm going to review Swamp Thing, Volume 2. I'm not talking Volume 1. I didn't read Volume 1, and I haven't read anything since Volume 2. And the reason I read Volume 2 was because I really liked Alan Moore's book, The Watchmen.
Yes.
That was my favorite movie. I watched that movie long before I even knew they were comic books, which is kind of my style. But someone said, "Oh, he did a Swamp Thing," and I can't remember who said that, but he actually took over in the early '80s from Len Wein, who's created him, and he went on to do some other stuff like Wolverine and other guys. Yes, I showed some emotion. You're right. Troy, if you're watching, this is very impressive. I'm not going to shed a tear, but it's pretty impressive. So I read, Volume 2 of the Swamp Thing is kind of neat because I don't know how they did this, but DC's like, whatever, Alan, just go ahead and do your thing. So he took a character and a bunch of other kind of characters behind him and just took over the book, and he's being chased through the forest by some angry general, and then he dies, and then they write all the other characters out, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, you did bring up how they transitioned out of that right away.
Right? It was like,
Yeah.
in one book they went from this is how Alan Moore goes, and then this is Swamp Thing, and then Alan Moore's like, actually, we're gonna go this way. And I think my favorite issue of Volume 2 is number 32. And that's the one where they do the Pogos. The Pogo characters come to visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Like from the comic strip? Or no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like the little alligator guy and the little dog guy, and they crash land their spaceship into Earth in the swamps of Louisiana. And then the Swamp Thing's there. And they're trying to figure out where they are, if it's a hostile or safe planet. And it's just the way they talk. And I read about it after, because the story itself just kind of sat with me because it's so cute. Like it doesn't fit with a lot of Alan Moore stuff. It's these cute characters, but the way they talk, like it was kind of like a reverse phrasing and portmanteaus of words that don't really make sense except if you read them with the image. And anyway, the story goes on, and I just stuck with me. I love the story, so I read about it after. And I guess Alan Moore, when he was writing it, he was coming up with all his own language. And he said for a month after writing that story, he couldn't talk normal English. Like he had to talk in this Pogo language. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like that's real commitment, right?
Yeah.
And it was probably an early indicator of what Alan Moore is today, right?
Well, it's funny.
Go on.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I read that run, but I can, like, just you bringing up that issue, I fondly remember that quite well. That was, yeah. It's been a while. This is going to force me to brush up on it some more, Mike.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, that's right. We have nothing else. Yeah, and it's just cool. I read it through the library, by the way, Octavio. I was like, oh, I can't keep buying trades. Trades are so expensive. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the room with Ryan, right? Like, but so I took it out of the library. It was great because you could see everybody else had enjoyed it and read it and flipped through them all. And the trades get darker and darker, and then they go galactic, where he goes into space and he ends up on other planets. And I think he crosses over with a what's his name? Some like regular human who just happens to be a superhero on another planet. Do you guys remember who that is? Ryan, you had a original art of him last week, I think. Anyway,
I don't remember. We'll come back to that. We're brainbuster there. Like, not only is that not the same Strongbow can from last week, it is not the first one today.
Wasn't it Wolverine last week?
no, it was I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But I'd say my second favorite issue or run of that series is when they take his girlfriend away from him and say, oh, like it was kind of like a play on. I think it was a play on gay rights, right, in the late 80s. So it was like, how dare she have a relationship with a vegetable, right? Because that's what they categorize Swamp Thing. But it was like an allegory of, the mass coming out of America, I think. And
Jesus.
yeah, it was really
that's a lot deeper than I read.
right. But they take her to New York or equivalent of New York. And then Swamp Thing's like, oh yeah, you want to go? And it's a crossover with Batman. And Batman shows up. And he's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. And then they hear this boom, boom. Kind of like early, like you could see, like this may have played into Jurassic World.
Water?
Oh, Carlos.
Yeah, exactly. Because everything's shaking. And then Swamp Thing's coming in, and he's been made out of California redwoods, right? Like that's what he's reincarnated, or because he would do that thing where he zips through the world and comes as whatever vegetables around. And he shows up as these giant redwoods, and he's like, I want my girlfriend back, whatever her name is. And Batman's like, oh, I got this. And he just destroys Batman. So all you Batman guys out there, like Swamp Thing's got his ass handed him his bat ass.
A lesbian vegetable beat the shit out of Batman.
That's funny.
There you
As
go.
soon as you said Batman, Carlos joined the chat, so it's fantastic.
Carlos is pissed. Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, it's really, I liked it. It was cool that the allegories. It was really neat to read another Alan Moore story, I guess, for lack. And then it ends with this intergalactic thing, and he meets the other Swamp Things like from millennia ago. And then that was the end of the Alan Moore series, and that's all I've read. So I don't know anything after that.
Jason brought up issue 21. Which issue is that? Do you know that off the top of your head?
No, I will Google that.
Jason has Google too.
Yes. No, this is
Yeah, I'm just curious because, I'm sure Jay knows exactly what goes on, but I'm just curious what issue that is specifically. Jay, chime in if you're still there. Mike's gonna Google it. Yeah, that was a good review, Mike. Considering you forgot all about this, and I'm presuming you didn't have time to read an entire Alan Moore run in the 45 minutes beforehand. So
I didn't. We were having dinner, but Swamp Thing Volume 2, number 21 is when he ends up in like the usual thing, like the rich guy's palace or laboratory, and they're gonna work on him. And then he's like, "Oh yeah," and he like destroys this.
You want to go?
Yeah, he destroys this like skyscraper that the guy lives in. And then it introduces Floronic Man, which I don't remember a lot of. He felt kind of like something out of Sandman books. Like just shows up, does a bunch of shit, and then leaves.
Yeah.
Like they wrote him in for a bit. I guess that's an arc. That's what you would call an arc. Yeah.
But I know what you mean. That is seems like very early Sandman. It's funny though, this stuff, like I was talking to Evan Cagle yesterday, we were talking about all kinds of stuff, and he was talking about Sandman quite a bit, and his affection for Swamp Thing as well. So I think it holds pretty high regard for a lot of people, and it's a great run. You touched on it last week, Mike, about how you consider some of this stuff really fine literature, like in the top 100 books you've ever read, kind of thing. So I think that belongs right there as well. So
Well, I didn't realize it till like when you told me I forgot we were actually doing this. I didn't realize it was Saturday again. But like this is where Alan Moore introduced some characters that like John Constantine, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cain and Abel. This is where they first show up in
Yes.
their, and having read The Sandman before this, I'm like, oh, like this is where Neil Gaiman got some of these guys, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to like circle that around and put that together.
for sure, that was a really strong time in comics. I definitely think that was, we don't get a lot of stuff like that throughout history. So I think it was a really good time. But cool, guys. So Octavio and Ryan are collectively going to share some pieces. Maybe we'll jump back and forth. Ryan, you do a piece. Octavio, you do a
Sure.
piece, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
And we will talk about Red Hulk and Octavio's favorite rendition of the Hulk. So, who wants to go first, guys? Thanks, Mike. That was awesome. And I hope. And I want you to, since we got your reaction live on the piece, I want you to record Jackie's reaction live as well, just so.
Poor Troy. It would be somewhere along the lines of, where are you going to hang that in the garage? Art is never appreciated in its time, right?
Yep.
That's true. If you want to hang it in my house, that's an option too. So
Tell her it's the new Arc'teryx marketing campaign. It's the original.
Okay.
You want to go?
People.
Octavio, you go.
Okay.
You're the rookie.
Yeah, my collection pales in comparison to Ryan's, but yeah, okay. So, one of my favorite storylines is The Future Imperfect by George Perez and Peter David. So this piece is the Maestro that I had a commission by George Perez back in 2007, I believe. And I think he is one of the best versions of the Hulk that I love. Just an evil Hulk taking over the whole world and destroying everything is amazing. And that's what I fell in love with that story. And it's still one of my top favorite stories.
Oh, that was almost the one I suggested Mike read, actually.
It's a good story.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you beforehand about it, but I was going to ask you where that sat in the lore, because I know you're oftentimes commissioning Maestro.
Yes.
There we go. And there it is. And I actually forgot that you had this piece. This was this was actually, because this was 09. I wasn't even collecting yet in 09, I don't think.
Oh, it is 09, not 07, yes.
Yeah, you were 7.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was, cause I remember there was a big George Perez commission list shortly after I started collecting, but this was before that.
Yeah, that was one of the first lists he took in a long time that I found out about, and I jumped on it because I was like, I haven't been able to see George. Well, I've seen George Perez at previous shows, but he was at Cross Gen when I saw him in Chicago back in 97, 98, 99. But this list opened up and I jumped on it. At that time, I think it was like $500.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which is cheap compared to what pieces
Yeah, no
are
kidding.
now. And yeah, that's when he did the whole tonals.
You seem to have good luck with getting on some of those hard to get on lists. Remember your Quietly piece that you didn't think you're getting, and then all of a sudden you got?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's another great piece. But yeah, awesome. Ryan, you're up.
All right. Well, I talked about, let's see if we can do this. I don't know if it's still working.
Ooh.
So I talked about those newspaper strips. Let's try and go closer. There we go. Being one of my first influences, and I managed to, here we go, pick up a few. Actually, one of them is 79. How old am I? 40? It's like it just turned 41 years old up at the top, but you see that they're classic, Hulk Savage pieces, fighting women, all the stuff he did in the 70s.
Yeah, those are amazing.
And and they're fun. And the thing that's kind of neat that I like about strips specifically is that they're original art, and you did get some of the big names on them at some point. Like Jack Kirby did some strip art. They're date specific too. So you have, for the collector in you have, a one of a kind and then a one of a kind that's specific to a certain date. So these ones they're a little tough to come by. They're all done by Larry Lieber. They're, just find those classic 70s Hulk pieces.
No, those are super cool. We haven't seen those in person yet, have we?
No,
No, he hasn't
no, you have
posted.
not.
I don't have the scan of those, or else I'd show it on the screen here. It's interesting with strips because, I grew up and it was all Calvin and Hobbes and The Far Side and Peanuts and Wizard of Id and
Yeah,
DC. But
Spy versus Spy.
Spy, yeah, too, yeah.
But as a kid, Ninja Turtles came out with a strip.
yeah.
And I think for some reason in the Saskatchewan paper, it was really sporadic. It wasn't published every day. But I remember just loving that because you couldn't get enough Ninja Turtles when I was a kid. And that was kind of the superhero one I remember. But it was.
But there's something just a little bit different about seeing those things in like regular life. Like seeing like a Batman strip or whatever in the newspaper with the regular news. It just doubled it out of place because we didn't have that kind of Marvel universe back then. So any kind of comic content that seemed to bleed into the real world just felt even more surreal. So
and if you get your hands on it, that was a big deal. So
yeah,
awesome. Thanks, buddy. How about
round one? Yeah,
Octavio? What's up now?
Another favorite story of mine is the Peter David Lee Weeks run on Tempest Fugit.
Yes.
This is when Hulk gets sent to Monster Island to battle all his enemies. And Nightmare's behind all. Well, I don't want to give the story away if Zimmer's going to be reading it or not. But
you can do it on the show. That's what we do. Zimmer did it last week. So right ahead.
That's our MO. Yeah.
But Nightmare's behind all the stuff that he's putting Hulk in, and at the end, he pisses the Hulk off by telling basically that the person that the Hulk fell in love with and slept with wasn't Betty. It was I forgot her name.
General Ross.
No, it wasn't that.
Veronica.
I was like Destiny, I think it was, or something. So that pissed the Hulk off, where he decapitated him and took his horse. And this is the image of him riding off on Nightmare's horse, which is amazing. And I love the way Lee Weeks draws the Hulk. He's one of my top artists for the Hulk.
When with him too, he's getting so much love in the DC universe, but I think for a lot of us, if you're reading this at the time, he does seem to be like one of the preeminent Hulk guys, and maybe he isn't in a lot of people's eyes, but his work on the Hulk was crazy. Who commissioned? Was there a splash page or a cover? Did one of the Gamma Bros commission a piece like this? I can't remember. You know which one I'm talking about? Is a splash page or a
TC has the cover to if I had another Grail, that would be my other Grail, which is the cover to Tempest Fugit, which is a homage to Frank Frazetta when he's on the horse. He has that cover in his gallery, and that's an amazing piece.
Yeah, if I was a little quicker on the draw here, I'd bring that one up too. But yeah, this one I had ready. I figured you were going to show us this one, so I grabbed it. But awesome. Okay, Ryan, back to you.
Okay, we will go into the precursor, one of the greats, just as far as, probably money made. Yeah, I thought to throw up a McHulk. So O's done a great job of showing some different, like every Hulk that we've shown has been a different model. This is harder than it should be, by the way. Hold on, bear with me for a sec. Todd's Hulk was very, devolved, lumpy, gross. Like there was nothing pretty about it, right? So This was an unpublished cover. It was inked by Mark Farmer after, a couple years after. But you can see, this is right. I'd say that this was kind of leading into Todd's transition in style too. So the way that he drew the Hulk and he's kind of did it the way he wanted, it kind of led into the Spider-Man. And yeah, like he's got a unique Hulk with that eyebrow, and they do a good job of focusing on all the faces here. But yeah, he's savage, mean, gray. There's some classic covers coming out of this period too. So
That's amazing. That's great.
yeah,
And we got
tons of lines on it.
closer look at it here as well.
Yeah.
And anything Toddy Mac, especially, it's so hard to get your hands on anything.
Yeah.
Todd, so
Because he only did what, 7 covers, I think. So,
What's the story behind finding that piece, Ryan? Like, was it just an auction, or what was it?
no, it was on a dealer site for a long time. And it's actually pretty rare that I'll buy from a dealer. But I decided to do my best collecting effort of taking all of my pieces that I wasn't a huge fan of, including some ones that had terrible stories with them, and traded, I think it was like 15 pieces for it. So came from a dealer site. We've been there for a while, and yeah, it's and the rumor is it's actually supposed to be published. So we'll see what happens.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
awesome. And so I'm gonna interrupt here for 1 second, because if Larry, are you still on? Octavia,
Yeah.
you saw that Larry showed up.
Yep, I saw he just popped up.
So I wanted to show one piece from my collection, and it's kind of ironic because I won it in auction,
Here we
and
go.
the 3 people I was most afraid of getting siphoned from me are Larry, Ryan, and Octavio. And at that point, I hadn't talked to Larry in a little while, so I thought for sure he'd have his eyes on it, but I think I lucked out that it's Red Hulk. So
It takes me out of the equation.
and it took you out of the equation. Ryan graciously stepped aside because I
Is the
wanted
piece
to.
upstairs? What, are you just showing the scan?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I do
Yeah.
have. Sorry,
Wait, do you have it behind you?
I have it. It's in a frame.
He's got
Oh,
it
there we
crumpled
go.
up behind him.
That thing's
Oh.
huge.
There
That
it
is amazing.
Yeah, it's all strictly pencil piece. I thought I'd show it off. I only have a dozen pieces, so, but one of them is Red Hulk. So I think, Octavio, I think a big part of that was after seeing Dave's Keown.
Yes.
Um,
It's tribute for his collection. Yeah.
yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces I've ever seen from Dale.
It's Bob
That one's
Martin. Yes, yes.
And so this one, and I was going to show it here too, but I'll bug Dave some other time. Maybe we'll get him on. Dave's actually Joe Bennett's rep. So
nice.
Jay Giant, yes. Nice guy.
yeah,
He hates the Red Hulk. Like, why? What's wrong with the Red Hulk? I don't understand. Can we just get this over with? Like, what's wrong with the Red Hulk?
Because
let's get it out of the oven.
Thunderbolt Ross, he just turns into the Hulk. Come on, man. I'm like, and especially the red. Now,
Are
they're
you
just making that shit up
arguing
now
the
with
actual plausibility that he can do it, or
that.
you
Yeah,
just don't-
it's like, come on. I'm like, no, it's stupid. And then Betty also. Well, now before she was the Red She-Hulk, now she's the. What the hell is she?
oh, the Harpy?
The Harpy now.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
that's not
okay that
either?
someone turns into the Hulk because of gamma rays, but not.
I don't even know how he turned into the Red Hulk.
I thought the storyline leading up was kind of interesting because you didn't know who the Red Hulk was, and you thought it was going to be like, but then it was like the bait and switch because it made it seem like it was Thunderbolt Ross, and then it wasn't, but then it turns out it was, and it was kind of felt like a bit of a cop out. But was that McGinnis drawing that series?
Yeah, it was.
Because I thought the art was awesome. I really liked what he was doing there.
Yeah, McGinnis art has grown on me. Before I didn't like it, but now it's growing on me. It was too cartoony back.
Yeah, it's a little different. And but yeah, sorry, I interrupted your guys' art show. I just wanted to. I had that ready, and seeing that Larry was on, I thought it was hilarious that the only 3 guys I was worried about are involved in this conversation right now. So thanks.
Neither of us have any Red Hawk art, so you had to show that one.
You
I am,
need to put Larry's last comment up. I think that's appropriate.
I actually think it was supposed to be Yellow Hulk next, so they could do the full stoplight.
Well, they could be the next Olympians if they did all the ring colors, right?
That's true. Yeah, they're going for the rainbow, and then they were going to reveal that Bruce is actually,
A troll?
Swamp Thing gay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
he was going to beat Thanos as like a coming out lesbian Hulk. That's the last one.
Oh my goodness.
We have inspired Marvel.
Yep.
Marvel, if you're listening.
Yep.
All right, so
Hulk.
next 2 pages are part of one of my favorite storylines in the last 15 years, which is the Planet Hulk storyline. So this page is from the Planet Hulk run by Aaron Lopresti. I just got this recently, so I've been missing a nice Planet Hulk page in my collection. So I was able to snag this off of CAF, I think it was, for a relatively cheap price, which was good.
so
Go
was
ahead.
he the first artist on it?
No, it was Carlo.
Carlo was the first. Okay,
yeah.
I don't think I knew that Lopresti was on there at all.
Yeah, Lopresti did he did 2 or 3 issues, or actually it might be a little bit more. I think he might have done 6 issues, like a fill-in, and then Gary Frank did 3 covers, and then he did 1 issue, I believe.
Oh yes, I definitely remember the Frank covers. Where does he sit in your all-time Hulk artist, Gary?
Oh,
yeah,
Gary's the top 5 Hulk guy. So it's Lee Weeks, and then Perez, and then actually go back. Steranko's number 1 because my grail is that one shot. What's it called? That king size special that
Oh yeah.
is in Albert Moy's collection, and I will never be able to afford that.
I was gonna say,
You
but
can find it.
at least we know where it is.
Yeah, I know where it's at, so he has it. But yeah, so Steranko, Weeks, Perez, Frank, and then that's number 5. I don't know. I got to think about number 5. But the Planet Hulk storyline led into World War Hulk storyline, which is this bad boy right here. This is John Romita Jr. So, let me go
One of
to
my all-time favorites.
splash page, which is amazing. When I first saw this, I was like, wow. Then I saw it up in auction a few years ago, and I decided to go all in for it, and I was happy I won it. There's a few people I knew that were going after it, but I'm glad I outbid them for it.
Oh, is that Klaus?
Yes, Klaus is
Yeah, it is.
over Romita.
Which is, I think, an all-time great. I think we talked about this often about when they draw the big guys, the big hulking guys. I think it goes a long way. Here's a better image from it. I'll go here. Yeah, I love this piece, and it's interesting as a collector too because at that time, our collecting group wasn't taking a lot of big swings.
No, we weren't.
And this was a pretty big swing at the time, right?
For me, it was, yes, because I think I've only gone one other piece, and I'm going to show that off later that I paid more than this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go all in on it.
You're flexing on us at that time hard.
And that's it.
Showing his dad's strength.
That is the only time I've ever flexed on.
Yeah, I sound like Mike and Cam talking with flexing.
I've been out flexed.
I love this piece, and when you got it, I was because I can't remember, was it a Comic Link auction or was it a Heritage?
Comic Link.
Okay, yeah, because there's a few things in that auction that were
and I showed it up when Baby Jack was born.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was his homage. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I hope that's not a homage to his birth.
Yes, Larry. I'm glad you were not interested in that one.
Yeah, yeah, Larry. That's why we don't hear from him much. He's always in the background, just plotting which
Lurking, yeah.
which pieces to snipe from us. But
The skulk.
are you going to show any of your Gary Frank stuff?
Yeah, I have 2 of them here.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to talk about him for a second.
Yep.
We'll do that when you get to it. So
Yeah, okay.
let's go back to Ryan.
So I haven't shown this one yet. Actually, I don't know if anybody knows I really have it, but Mike, you can actually talk about it, review it. It's the Thanos Wins run.
Oh, I did read that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of the Super Hulk fanatics are seeing any kind of trend with the Hulk, and it's kind of like a running thing because he was considered the most powerful character for forever, right? So he just Octavio, how mad were you when the Hulk didn't even take a swing in the last Avengers movie?
Oh, Cam knows my disappointment in those last 2 movies. He knows it very well.
So, Mike, do you want to explain what happens to the Hulk in Thanos Wins?
Oh, that's
You remember?
amazing.
Oh, I don't know. Like, there's someone on here named Carlo or Carlos that's really a hater of my speeches. it looks like.
That's okay.
I don't think he can
Maybe
read
he-
very why he doesn't like the stories.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about.
This is in Thanos Wins. This is this penultimate issue, I think, where
Yeah, it's the second to last one. So it's the
yeah,
big battle issue.
so they've killed everybody, and he's like, "No, we just have to wait for death." And then Silver Surfer shows up, and he's redeemed himself, and
We
he's
know
got
that he's worthy. Yeah.
yeah, he's got. I can break all that stuff. So yeah, he breaks the hammer, or he's got Mjolnir, and he shows up, and they say, "You won't survive this," and he's like, "Survive what?" And then the Hulk shows up. And it's really, I really like the part where so the scene where he grabs him by the throat. I didn't realize
Yeah.
he had both covers, both pieces.
I got
And
the
then-
whole issue, my friend.
That's right. This is that issue we went through at
Damn.
lunch one day.
Yep.
And yeah, this the stuff at the bottom where he's just Hulk's doing his thing, just trying to bash Silver Surfer's head in, and it does nothing. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Silver Surfer's the shit, right?"
I got
And-
the sequence here, so you can do the slow reveal as I hold up the pieces.
Yeah, so this is where finally he overpowers Hulk, and then Hulk turns back to Bruce, and he's like, all along he's saying, "Hulk kill," and then he just
Yeah.
turns the
It
phrase.
says, kill me. Yeah.
He says, "Kill Hulk," right? Like,
Kill me. Yeah.
I just want
And
to
this
die.
is this issue was nuts. So
Mhm.
Was this Shaw?
yeah,
or
this is
who's the artist?
this is Shaw.
Okay.
Shaw and Kate's
Stand out.
story. And I
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is great because he doesn't talk. There's not much script, so you know it's all art. But
I
like
do
this-
like what
Go ahead.
Kate's got away with there. Like, he's like, "I just want to do
Holy
crazy
crap.
shit," and Marvel let him run with it.
Yeah.
so the question is do you think he's as hard to write for as Superman? You know, there's only so much that you can do. So there's it seems to be a theme now of just kind of like taking the Hulk and showing that other things are better. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, you know what? The Immortal Hulk. I don't know if Zim has read it or not.
That's an exception. Yeah.
But for a while there, the Hulk did get stale. You know,
Yeah.
between here and there was a couple of good stories. So, like I said, you know, Tempest Future was fantastic. Then Planet Hulk came after that, like a year and a half after that, and those were awesome. But the whole thing with Immortal Hulk, the way Al Ewing is writing it right now,
Oh, it's great.
I think it's a different take, and it's amazing. So that's what writers have
Yeah.
to do. They have to find different takes on how you can write the Hulk. And I think Al Ewing is doing a fantastic job on it.
Well, it's like a horror book. Like it's
Yes.
a different genre almost, right? Like it's not
Exactly.
just
Yes.
staying with the same universe. It's really good.
And was that the case before Planet Hulk? Oh, was he kind of stale? And then
He was.
Yeah, 'cause I just remember that was such a big deal because he was just gone, and he was gone for Civil War and a bunch of those crossovers. But Yeah, that was fond memories of Planet Hulk. So what's up now, Octavio?
All right, so Gary Frank. Love Gary Frank. Met him back in San Diego. What was it, 2013 maybe, I think it was. And before that, I had bought 2 covers off of him. So he did a commission for me,
Whoa.
just a regular Hulk.
That's
But
great.
then he opened up another list, and my good friend George Middleton from the UK, he was able to snag these pieces from me and then send them to me. So I asked Gary at that time if he could do kind of like an homage to Hulk issue 1 off of Kirby. Not knowing what to expect, I thought he was just going to do Banner with the Hulk, but he ended up throwing in Ross and Betty in the background as well too. And when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
And so that
Yeah.
was your first piece from
Gary? No,
From Gary.
no, I had a regular Hulk from Gary. He had
Oh,
done
okay. Oh,
San
sorry. Yeah.
Diego. But I hadn't seen him since back then. So I think I saw him in 2013, and then I saw him in 2016 in New York. But before that, I had commissioned him for another. And this is another different Hulk. This is the Smart Hulk with
With the
Ryan's money
slippers.
slippers. This is a recent commission he did last year. I believe it was last year. Yes.
Yes, C2E2.
So-
I like
I'm
the touch
I'm
on
gonna
the,
share this one first. Sorry, and
Yeah,
we'll go
go ahead.
back to the new one. I was just fumbling on it a bit. There's a better look of that piece from Gary, and then if you want to hold up the Smart Hulk one again,
Okay.
Al, and I'll. Yeah, that one might be my favorite in your
Mhm.
Gary Hulk collection.
So Smart Hulk is defined by the black.
It's like Professor Hulk.
Yeah, he's a smart
Right.
version of him. So he's
But that was like the big part of the last Avengers was because he's
Yes.
wearing tank top. It means
Correct,
he's
yeah.
smart.
so he thinks. So unlike Hulk,
Yeah.
he doesn't think. So
Mhm.
Professor Hulk is what he's called.
I like the touch of the commercial vacuum. That's
Henry?
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah, yeah. The
when I used to
missile.
work in an office building, we'd see these all the time.
Yeah.
And so, and Ryan and Mike, back in the day, Gary Frank wasn't that easy to get art from, especially if you're in North America. So Octavio and his relationship with George was very popular. I hit up Octavio, and he hooked me up with a few Frank pieces over the years. So,
We got Larry one too.
what did Larry get? Was it a
We
Hulk?
got a Superman versus a Planet Hulk one, which is nice too.
Yeah. And George, I was actually thinking about him the other day. I'd like to bring him on and have a chat with him. He's a really cool guy and
He's a real nice person.
overseas hookup. It's been a little while since I chatted with him. I think I tried to get his Arthur Adams piece off him at one point, but he wasn't having it.
Just a predator.
Yeah, well, he was. It's probably the best Harley I think I've ever seen from Arthur.
Oh, that was a beautiful piece. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool. That was really cool.
But yeah, okay. Moving on, back to you, Ryan.
This is like a game of horse. You guys are stuck in Hulk. though.
Yeah, you just got a swamp thing. Huh? So we'll talk about. Oh, I turned around. That's what happened. Keown. I think he was kind of like the what McFarlane did for Spider-Man. I think Keown did for the Hulk because his rendition was kind of like that big, bulky, powerful but smart Hulk, which I think was kind of like the big turn for him, right? And he had some really iconic art coming out of that too, even though the storyline wasn't that great. So this is a Keown example, and this is kind of like for Hulk collectors, this is Keown Hulk is a pretty valued run, I guess. So splash page from the run. This is the issue with like that holofoil, that kind of I think it's the Kirby homage. That's right, yeah. I didn't
Yes,
ask
it is,
anybody.
yeah.
I just looked over
With the green cover, yes. Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, and then with this, I think there was a quick transition into Image, and then that's when kind of everybody was coming out with their own line, and Keown kind of blended his love for the Hulk and his style for the Hulk into probably, I think this is my favorite Image title during that early run with Pitt. So here's cover to Pitt number 2. A lot of the similar features, and yeah, he was. This one's Scott Williams ink. I'm really excited about this one. This one hits the nostalgia button very, very hard.
I think Keown was such. Out of all those, all the early Image stuff, I think Keown, he just. I shouldn't say the early Image stuff, but a lot of '90s stuff feels very of the time.
Yeah.
You see a lot of artists kind of evolve their style as things went on, and I think they all have. But I think Keown's such a great example of that. Like it's of its time, but then you see something now, and it's still just as striking as it was back then. And it's not that he's changed his style a whole lot, but
it has changed. Like
it has. Just like Gary Frank.
Still, but his style is. I don't know how you say it. Like it's changed, just like, but it's
more finite, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Yeah,
but just like Gary Frank, you look at Gary Frank's Hulk, completely different to what it is now. Which I was talking to him in San Diego, in New York about it, and I love that. He goes, "Yeah, I try to evolve my style, and you can notice it in his art, because you look at some of the old Hulk issues he did to what he's doing now. It's like." It's still his twist on it. It's still amazing, but it's amazing. I was like, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, like as an artist, like I would imagine that the Hulk is just so much fun to draw because there are no rules, right? Like it's as angry, as loud, as violent as you want to make him, and he doesn't have any limits. So usually you see an artist flex his muscles with the Hulk, and it's pretty interesting to see who enjoys drawing him, right? So not a lot of femininity there.
I tried to picture guess what pieces you guys would show, and I hit the last few on the head. I've got a few wrong.
You have so far.
They didn't tell you which pieces before you put.
Well, he doesn't tell us anything, Mike, as we found out.
I think I tell you guys everything, but it just gets selectively missed. Mike didn't even know we were doing a live stream tonight.
That's
I know. Somebody had a nap with their son.
Okay,
I just trying to get a little version of each version of the Hulk that I have. So the next one is my Steranko.
Oh, nice!
Wow.
I wish I would have gone for a full figure when he was offering them, but I didn't, and I kind of kicked myself for it. So I ended up going with the headshot that he was offering at that time, and just it's amazing. I love this piece, even though if it is on the back of a comic board, it's still amazing.
Which show was that at? Oh,
no, this is personal. We had to reach out to him, so his rep was taking a list, and he would send you emails. And he goes, "Hey, Octavio, I'm going to start your piece. Just letting you know, it'll be like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe." But I'll send you another email if I get behind or anything like that. And it was pretty awesome that he would send me updates. He was going through the process of, doing it. Like he would, for payment, he would do like 2 or 3 payments if he wanted to. Wow. He goes, "Hey, my friend, I'm ready for the next payment. Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll send you the next payment." And I would send it off to him. He goes, "Okay, I started it." So he would finish it off. He goes, "It's done. What address do you want me to send it to?" I'm like, "Oh, I want to hear." He goes, "It was amazing working on this. I really appreciate your support and your patience with me." And it wasn't even that long. So he was very open. The communication with him was awesome. So, yeah, it was fantastic.
For such a legend and such a larger than life figure, it's pretty great to hear a story like that, because his persona, you wouldn't really know what to expect,
what to get.
No, and his only stipulation was if I posted this anywhere, I would have to put super graphics on it, like a watermark.
Really?
So that's why I can't pull that one off. So,
I
and
thought
I
you
held
just
off
were,
on
like,
posting it for a
praised.
while because I didn't want to put it on there. But then I saw other people posting their stuff, and I'm like, well, screw it, I'm going to post it as well.
Well, you just
Nice.
like that phrase. Like you probably got that tattooed on you.
Well, it's cool because he asked, he goes, what signature do you want? Do you want the Steranko spelled out, or do you want the one with the loop? I'm like, I want the one with the loop.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, my friend, I'll do that.
Wow. So is there any Hulk boxes you haven't checked off?
I
Like,
have
what are you
a
doing
Dale,
now? Like, what are you after now? Okay, go ahead.
I have a Dale one, but it's a head. I want either a full figure or a better rendition than the one I have, because mine is kind of like a loose sketch one. I got it off of eBay
Yeah.
a long time ago, but I still want
I
a Dale.
offered you my page, my friend.
I know
Well,
When's
you
your
did.
birthday?
You did.
And it's funny because the Keown, the Keown Fan Expo appearance. Yeah, what year was that? Was that 2000? Was that 2017?
It was 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah, that lives on in legend just because of he was doing commissions at the show. He had that portfolio, and things were cheap and awesome, like double page spreads for like $500 from early pit, and he had a Hulk cover for I think $1,000 in there that someone sniped instantly. But yeah, it's funny because we talk about the Gamma Bros and the Hulk fans because that's where I met Steven and Dave were at that show, and we were hanging out a bit. We went for some dinners after, and if you ever had to find them on the con floor, you just went to the Keown table and they were there.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's
check
funny
your wallet. Check your wallet, Dale. Just gotta check your wallet.
because they made no bones about like we're coming to Toronto because Dale's here and we want to see him, and they just kind of hung with him. And obviously, they did other things as well, but they wanted to see him draw, and he is such a legend in Hulkdom. So yeah, it was cool. But the Gamma Bros they're pretty solid group. Maybe we'll have an all Gamma show one of these times. But do you guys have any more?
Gamma.
Yeah, we do. I do. Was it Ryan's turn, or is he out?
I don't think it matters.
Oh, I wasn't sure. He shifted the camera, so I thought maybe he was.
Yeah, I'm getting a little shy of my pit stains.
And
literally,
also
like,
that show,
water
Larry
droplets.
also got a commission from Dale Keown. He got a Planet Hulk one too.
Yeah, Dave, I think I saw it because Larry, Dave showed me what he got, and he told me how much it was.
It's
I
crazy.
couldn't believe what was
I know.
happening at that show.
I got a
Okay.
Sammy piece. Oh, there we go.
Wait, who was it?
So it's Chris Samuels, Captain America
Oh,
number
Sammy. Yes,
700.
yes.
And I love it when guys can take a unique take on him. Like, he looks caveman-y, but the thing is bothering him. It's annoying, right? So it's just a fun cover. It's like an old World War II pinup. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
And then Steranko, who is probably like, this cover is homaged all over the place, right? So I have
It's
the
my
comic
Grail
book
piece.
here somewhere. Yeah, so Murder Falcon, if you haven't read it, you should. It's amazing. But this is a variant cover by Daniel Warren Johnson with the Steranko. And then you had, like this Hulk issue 2.
That's
I'm
the
watching
Mike
it,
Delgado, wasn't it?
Yeah. This run was pretty good too.
Yes, it was a good run. Yeah, it's another artist that's fantastic on the Hulk as well too.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all I got for the Hulk. I had a Secret Wars number 4 might be my favorite Hulk cover. It's where he's like lifting up 1 billion tons of rock.
I was going to ask if you're going to show that one. Yeah.
I went running off looking for it. I couldn't find it. Do you have a scan of it, Cam?
that's a good question.
I love that you've lost original art somewhere in your
I haven't
house.
lost it. It's like I
Right.
said, we get so
It's misplaced.
little instruction. But here's some of my favorite covers with the Hulk on it. So there's Secret Wars number 1.
I thought it was
And
the
I
other one,
love-
Ryan, where he's holding up the whole the rock.
Yeah. Like this one,
Oh, Brian Hitch.
his Hitch Miller or Millar, it this iteration of the Hulk was amazing.
That was a
Like,
crazy Hulk.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, like this cover, I don't know where it is, but this is what I've always wanted. So
That's like the Authority, but in the Avengers version. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
That's actually
it's like the
pretty good definition of the shoulder muscles on whatever he was doing there. I'm impressed with the art.
he's
It's anatomically correct.
he's vacating.
He's baking,
Yeah.
pulling some brownies out of the oven.
Yeah. I'm trying to open up that jar of pickles that I couldn't open the other day. That's how hard it was.
Not even the Hulk can open this.
Yeah, exactly, right? No, I'm not a wuss. Not even the Hulk can do it. But yeah, that's it. I showed some pieces last week. Like I had that McNiven cover and
The Old Man Logan. Yep.
Yep. And there's way too many lights on. Like I'm melting over here.
Okay, oh, what do you got next?
My first cover I ever bought was this Eric Powell cover
Ah, nice.
Oh, that's amazing. I love Devil Dinosaur.
because of the Hulk that was on there. And, trying to buy anything Eric Powell back in the day was impossible. You couldn't find anything. But I just love the way he draws the Hulk, and just his watercolor work on here is fantastic, man.
Mm-hmm. What's
It's a stat on here too.
I love that piece in your collection. You got this incredible taste, Octavio. There's no waste in your collection at all.
Well, thank you, Ryan.
Well, and I wanted to touch on that tonight too, because was it 2019 or no, it was 2018, Octavio, where you got like 3 pieces, and every one of them was a flat out home run.
Was
Like
that
that
when I
Jeff-
finished my Jim Chung Flash jam?
Yeah, and you got the Mark Brooks, and you got the
stealth
Delato.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Stealth piece. So here's a closer look at the Devil Dinosaur.
I love that
Would
piece.
you say is Powell top 5, top 10 for you and your favorite artists?
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, definitely. Like I love the Goon. I just love his watercolor work. His wash. It's just amazing. I don't know. Yeah, he's a fantastic artist.
Just one of those not effects, but just one of those styles and textures and tones that he established that I'm sure guys tried to replicate it, but no one's even been able to come close. I think that's why he kind of stands the test of time.
Yeah.
What's next?
Great.
Larry's got a very specific question about the Powell.
Yeah, I'll text you off line, Larry.
It wasn't so much money; it was that act of service.
So this is Cam's favorite piece.
This is my favorite piece.
This
I
is
had this one ready to go.
This is a Planet Hulk by Esad Riddick, and this was picked up by Carlos at New York Comic Con. I forgot what year, 2015 maybe.
It was a year where Carlos had gotten me a bunch of pieces too, and it was a good year. Like everyone was kind of hitting on pieces, but this was definitively the best piece to come out of that show.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'll show.
Remarkable.
It's really like metal. I feel like this is very heavy metal Hulk.
Well, it's heavy too. Like you feel it. Well, you haven't felt it, but when I'm holding it up because I haven't touched it in a long time, it's very heavy too because all the paints he used on here. He just kind of lathered it on, and it's it's amazing how because Esad's published work is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he gets it to be that clear and precise because his commission could be hit or miss sometimes, but his published work is flat out amazing.
When this one seems, especially as he because the Hulk gets more detailed as you scroll your eyes up.
Yeah, no, you
but
did a good job on this one.
Definitely more in the vein of this. I think this is one of his best pieces ever. Like obviously his cover work and a lot of that's awesome. But yeah, this was. I just remember that New York Comic Con. I can't remember if that was the year Carlos got me the McNiven and a handful of other ones. But this was Yeah, even Carlos, the non Hulk guy, admitted to this being the best piece of the show. So
Yeah, he picked up that piece and a Carlo Pagulagan Planet Hulk for me, which
nice.
was amazing. He said he had done 3 different Planet Hulks, and Carlo told him to pick one. So he picked the one that was the best one out of it. He said it looked like a cover.
Oh, do you have that one handy?
I did not pick that one, but it's the one where
Yes,
he's
sir.
driving the sword into the ground,
Oh, okay.
and he has his shield on the side. It's fantastic. It's all pencil too, which is flat out amazing.
What I like about that piece, is how anatomically correct it is. Like I said that earlier, but I like when they make Hulk look real but really big, right?
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
those are real muscles.
Like-
'Cause a lot of times when they make a huge Hulk, he just has extra muscles, and you're like, but
Yeah.
what does that muscle do? It doesn't exist, right? Like this looks like Cam halfway through a workout, right?
It's CrossFit
Back when he
workout,
worked
yes.
out. Yeah,
But he's yawning. He's yawning in that photo because he's bored.
yeah. That's right.
No, he's yelling at Coach Scotty. Scotty, give me more.
This is Cam gasping for breath because they made him run around the block. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is me gasping for breath as we're running across the street, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. When we went for coffee that day. Yeah.
So here's a good question. What are you guys doing for haircuts and stuff like that? Because next week, if I'm back on, it's going to look like we just discovered electricity.
Just keep putting a hat on. You're fine. Or is that why you're sweating?
Oh,
It probably is, yeah.
I thought my hair was bad. Okay, Ryan. And you won again.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's getting there.
Oh,
Yeah.
and to answer Larry's question, Larry, I got this from that Eric Powell I bought off of Mike Berkey.
Oh,
that
I
was-
saw that mistake.
From Powell. Does Powell sit on a bunch of his art? Do you know? Is he
does.
sitting on a ton of it?
He does. He's started selling a lot of it the last few years,
Yeah.
but back in the day, he never sold anything.
Mm.
No, which is funny because talking to Felix, he loves Powell too, the Goon. So me and
Yeah.
him were always go back and forth on some pieces. I ended up buying a piece off of Albert Moy that I think Felix used to own before, but he sold because he
Oh, okay.
wanted to upgrade and he got rid of a few pieces. And he flat out told me, he goes, "Oh, that piece you bought off Moy was cheaper than what I paid for it back in the day." I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
okay.
Yeah, no, you got a quality eye, man. Like you don't when you take a swing, you always connect. Like
I
it's
try.
almost like you're like the Houston Astros, you're
With the garbage
giving
can.
signals. Yeah. Every time you go into the con floor, I hear a bang on a garbage can.
That Powell piece was that same year we were talking about. Where you only, how many pieces did you get that year? Like 5? That was one
I
of
got
them.
less than that. I think I got 4. Yeah, because I bought that Powell poster piece.
You were choosing between the Powell and
And the-
another piece.
The Darwin Cook, the Hulk one.
Oh,
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was 2005 for the Darwin piece, and the Powell was half of that, so 1,500 for that one.
Okay.
do you mind just like I don't even remember because we just had so much fun. What's your collecting history? How'd you get into this? Like what was the Hulk? Like
Let's see. I had gone into comics beforehand, and then I went to college and I sold all my collection off. So,
Why
got
was
away
that?
from the house, went
because
home.
it wasn't cool?
Well, I figured I'm like, I can't be collecting comics and having all the chicks be around and say, "Hey, this guy's collecting comics. What the hell's going
Hey,
on?"
how times changed, eh?
Well, now it is, but back in the day, it was like, I was like, so I just sold my collection off, went away to school, transferred back in like 3 years later to in-state. Met a good friend of mine. He was collecting comics, and I got back into it. And that was 1997. We ended up going to Wizard World Chicago.
You
So
were
at
in
that
college
time-
in '97.
Yeah, I'm older than you, man.
What the hell? What are you drinking and eating?
I graduated high school in '94.
Oh my lord. Anyway, okay, keep going.
But,
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah, that's the power piece I got. So, yeah, we ended up going to Wizard World Chicago in '97, And
Ooh, I like this piece.
I wish I would have known about commissions back then because everybody was there. Adam Hughes, George Perez. But me, I was still into comic books. I just went around and got signatures on comic books at that time. I was like, didn't know anything about that until I want to say 90, 98, 99. I got in line for Waltz Bertalcio, and this guy had like a sketchbook in front of him. And I'm like, hey, what's the sketchbook for? He goes, oh, he's doing sketches. I'm like, no way. He goes, yeah. I'm like, damn, I don't have any paper for him. He goes, oh, I'll give you one. So he gave me one of his papers, and I went up to him, and he gave me a free sketch.
I'd probably just go for the comic these days.
But at that time, I didn't know that. So I did the free sketches, and then I just went around and got me a sketchbook. Maybe I waited like 2 years after that, and that's all I went around. It was a free, collecting free sketches at that time. But
it was still well ahead of the game at that point. Like it's
not
still
even because if I would have known better, I would have been collecting commissions or pages at that time. It would have been dirt cheap.
Well, no, you would have been buying Amazon stock.
yeah.
You would have known, right?
Well, that too.
No, I'd probably do the art, Mike. To tell you the truth, if I could go back in time, I'd rather have the art than an Amazon stock.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because a lot of that stuff is exactly.
Not for the value, just because it's a much funner thing to have. And now you have that same dilemma.
Yeah, Mike, you're gonna start feeling the burn soon.
Yeah.
You're gonna look at the Swamp Thing a little bit later on, and yeah.
So Ryan, I don't know if you ever looked at my sketchbook. I have it on my CAF site, but I have sketches in there. Mostly everybody in there was free, and then I think my first paid sketch was Tony Moore, and it was like $30 maybe. And I asked him like, "Oh, give me a picture of a zombie with a gun, by his forehead, about to shoot him." He's like, "Okay." Back then.
Okay, here's another. Okay, what's the collector commission guy like? Do you have some pretty strict rules, or do you?
No, not really. I kind of, when I commission somebody, I don't give direction on what to do. I just kind of let the artist have free reign. I just give them like, hey, I want the Hulk, Planet Hulk with the helmet. Have at it. I don't like to give them any kind of direction because I don't want to kind of cramp their artistic style at all.
Right. Did you get a Firefly?
Yeah, no, I've been lucky. I haven't gotten no Fireflies. So that I have been lucky, and that all the stuff I've commissioned, I've been pretty good, except for once. I think when Mike Deodato came to Chicago one time, it was him, El Rio, and I forgot who else was there. And me and Carlos stood in line. It's when I first met Carlos at that con. So me and him stood in line for Deodato. He was doing $100 for these Sharpie sketches, and I was like, I saw a few of them, and I'm like, man, should I still pull the trigger on it? Because El Rio next to him, Will Conrad next to him was charging the same amount of money. He was doing a lot more detailed sketches than he was. And I was like, no, I really want Deodato to see what he does. And he gave me a sketch, and it was like, man.
It was like a freebie, more or less.
But I paid $100 for it, so it's like,
yeah.
So I just kind of bit my tongue and just walked away with it. I never posted it.
Like lit it on fire. Yeah.
Well, if he can, with him, if you get an at-home piece from him, and he puts his time and effort into it, the commissions he was doing were incredible.
Yes, I'm contemplating bidding on the one on Twitter for that Comics for a Cause.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on. Like I looked at the group chat the other day, and there was 85,000 messages. Like I don't what's happening right now. Do you know, Cam?
I think it's just the hashtag that they're using. I don't know what my.
Oh my goodness.
Right into the dog dish.
I think that's a top loader, right?
Hey, it's watercolor, buddy.
Good.
It's so good. If you can see the way my art is being out right now, it's no big deal. It's your piece, man. You do what you want.
So when I was off screen, or I assume I was off screen, I was looking through it at the detail.
Yeah.
Like there's a little crab here.
If you look really closely, you'll see the poem that I wrote to you.
I don't know if I'm ready for that, but there's his initial.
There once was a man in
Here,
my
right there. It says it right there.
something and somehow found a dike.
Like the snail, the little fish, the little sea. Like it's incredible.
Well, and even by just regular commission standards, Mike, too, this is a monster piece.
Yeah, I
This
can't believe he would put this. Like the guy's insane. Like this much effort into a.
And his art's great too.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
You got to get a Nixie there, Octavio. Like, what are you going to get a commission anytime soon? Like, you've been being patient, lying in the weeds like Larry.
Yeah, but that's how Octavio does it. Like, look at those commissions we do.
Me and Cam have gone
Thanks,
back
James.
and forth on a few things here and here. So we'll
there'll be
see.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
There's just Octavio seems like a nice guy, but there can't be whiteout on it. There can't be screen tones. If the page is A3 and not 11 by 17, you can't have it.
I get.
I have small pieces. And I'm not like Carlos, whose his kryptonite is 9 by 12 and below. So
Well, I like giving you a hard time because as much as I make fun of your preference against the tones and the whiteout, you're pretty easy going. But Octavio, do you have the Dark Knight piece handy?
Yeah, show us some of your key pieces, man.
oh no, I didn't bring the Batman because it was all Hulk related. So I still have 3 more pieces to show.
Okay, yeah, let's do those ones.
All right, so
I have a question
really
for
don't
you
listen
after
to
you're
Carlos,
done
but
here.
once in a while Carlos does come through. And this is by George Fornes. This is amazing, just flat out amazing. And I can't thank Josh enough for me because he got
Hold
on
it closer,
his-
so we can see it.
Just the amount of detail George put into his piece. Now this is a different version, Mike. This is the Mr. Fix-It with Patch as Wolverine.
Oh, right. We talked about that last week.
So just when I saw this piece, I was like, wow. I'm like, okay, I am a George Fornes fan.
Yeah, that's cool.
So is this in like a back alley or like the in Southeast Asia?
Where COVID started.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You see the bats?
Okay. I like that piece.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
fantastic. The amount of detail he puts into this. Oh man, it's
And that was
It's a
good
beauty.
value too. Those weren't expensive.
no. They
No.
weren't.
I don't know what the prices are now, but what did we pay for these? Like $300, $300 or
Yeah, I think
$400.
you guys were
I think it was
350.
4.
Yeah.
Now I
Is it
think
what
he's
you go for
charging
now?
4 for like a half body. I think it was.
Yeah. One, because Carlos got one.
You got one.
I got one.
And I
And
got
mine
This is
is
fantastic.
yeah, mine's hanging on my wall. I framed that one right away.
It's in
That's
your
one of the
gallery.
I've ever
Yeah.
gotten. Yeah, and then anyone else did Byron didn't get one, did he?
No, it was just those 3 that got a piece that year because I think he only took 4 commissions,
And we were
snagged
3 of them.
and we snagged 3 of the spots.
Yeah, that dude, he can draw, and he was just incredibly nice and humble guy too.
Hey, Larry, he works on Batman. He was doing Batman. Larry's asking a question. What does he work on? His Batman run is fantastic.
I really like that the jackets are just negative space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Touch, right?
Between him
And I'm
and
surprised it's
Eduardo
so clean.
Rizzo with the negative space,
Yeah.
just the way they do it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And then it looks like some sort of skyscraper in the background right up the middle, right?
No,
Is
it's
that-
not. It
It
is.
does? Oh, it's a fancy shop. It's where Carlos shops. You get some
Yes.
special massage commissions there.
Yeah, it's some ductwork. So it's a
Oh, is
fan-
that okay. I thought it was like a riff on like Taipei 101 or whatever, right? Like,
No.
just to give Mandapur some
Yeah.
cosmopolitan
And
chops.
back
speaking of Rizzo,
Oh,
got this
Great
piece.
piece.
Man, I love this piece when I picked it up, Cam.
speaking
I-
of negative space, right?
That came out of he pried that out of my cold dead hands.
Is that that was a commission?
That was
This was for New York Comic Con. Was it 2016? I think it was.
Yep. And I'll
Yeah,
pull up.
you, me, Carlos got on the list.
Carlos got a slightly smaller size than he wanted. He's still bitter about it to this
Yeah,
day.
he got a meaty Batman with legs.
Meaty Batman.
I'll bring that one up.
Little Godzilla in the background.
I thought he's sleeping.
Oh, this is nowhere near
He
Godzilla.
doesn't sleep. Yeah, this is a great piece. So, and this was like on smaller paper, the 2-figure option, and yeah, Ed, that guy, he's incredible. He's one of the guys I see all the time where I just, I'm just eager to see what he's coming out with, because even just like a Talking Heads page from Rizzo is super interesting. Everything he does. You also have
Yeah, everybody has a piece of Cam's collection.
yeah, there's at least they went to some good homes. They had to pare down here quite a bit, but
It was worth it for that Art Adams.
He hasn't told anyone yet. Oh,
it's just right there. It's in a
he was hanging in the background last time, I think, wasn't it?
the few shows ago when we were doing it on Instagram. Yeah, I
Yeah.
the poster.
yeah. Got another piece, oh?
Yeah, I got one more. So this is my one and only sketch cover, but I had to get it back in the day because it was hard to get anything from Gabriel
yeah.
Delata. Oh, hold on. Oh, there's a glare on this thing. Hold on. There we go.
Wow.
Cool.
What year was that?
This was Cam. What year was this? This is 2013. We got it in 2013, but it didn't get delivered till 2014, or Cam's case 2016.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but it was just random. It was just a CGC offering and we just got lucky. And it was funny because at the time, I can't remember what we paid for them, like 300 euros or something.
Oh, it was like $400, I think it was. I was like,
Yeah,
no brainer. I'm like, yes.
and Delata was so hard to get back then. He still is. And I remember a lot of people doubled up because a lot of guys didn't fill the spots. And I just remember thinking, this is odd, because we've just been clamoring to get something from Gabe for a long time. And then that came up.
Yeah, I think there was,
I don't know.
12 people on that app, I think it was.
He's such a strange artist. Like, I don't like. Is he doing anything like he used to anymore? Like, I haven't seen.
He switches it up. I don't know.
You'll see some variant covers for a little while, and then you'll see commissions that guys are trying to turn into variants, and you'll see him doing some specialty things. But yeah, because every now and then he'll come out with like just a killer Wonder Woman cover or a killer Batman cover. I'm not really that bizarre cover.
Larry's just having the time. Like, we should see if he wants to patch in.
Oh, you should see Larry's collection. He's only post half the shit he has on.
Yeah, Larry's got, well, even what he's got on calf, that Wolverine Jay Lee cover, that's the one I think about most often. Oh, did you want to?
Go ahead.
What's that?
I was going to see if Mike, if anything out that you just saw stands out to him.
Well, so that last piece that you had up, let's
The Rizzo or the Delato?
the one that I wanted to ask, like, why does O have that in a giant plastic case?
Oh, that's in the comic book, Mike.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So those are called sketch covers. So I despise sketch covers.
Gotcha.
But that was my only way to get this artist at commission at that time, was through this sketch cover app. And we had the right to send it in to get graded, and it came back graded a 9.8. So
Right at
But,
the top.
It's not bad
decided-
to have it. It's good protection for the art too. If it's not a double page one, because
Mhm.
because you're not displaying half the image. But those CGC cases are heavy duty, and I think a piece like this, it's nice to have behind.
I've
So
decided I despise CGC. Like, I hate it. Like, I think it's the worst thing to happen.
Well, yeah, because like I said, when I first started off in '97, I have all these comics that I have signed by Jim Lee, McFarlane, everybody else. Now I can't prove that I had him sign it. I was there.
I know.
But
It's
CGC
stupid. It's yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
Larry, if one of them's a photo of you in a costume, I don't want to see it. But yeah, you're right. Like, you didn't have the right timing there. I just hate that there's a third-party service that's kind of taking away. And now that they've come out with ways that you can kind of press it and refurbish it to make it a higher grade than what it is, I don't know. I think CGC is a terrible thing.
Oh, but you have to pay CDC to do so? Is that how it works? Yeah, so it's a...
Yeah, you can get it restored. Like, you should see there was a 9.6, what is it, Incredible Hulk #1, which you think should go for like $100,000. And it went for 12 grand. Because if you read the description on Heritage Auctions, you go look at it. It's like, this is the restoration is the best artistry on this book, because it took something that was just in tatters and just modified it so much that it was now the highest recorded grade of that book. And it's like, I don't know. And it takes, like, the comic books are meant to be read. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a rant for another day. I hope Carlos is listening.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
You're preaching to the choir with me. I have to slow down and look at the art. Usually I have to go back a second time just to read it.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Well, is that the last one? Oh,
I got one more piece that I forgot I had in here.
I love how you guys just have art you forget about.
You'll get there.
Chia
So this is
seeds.
a Frank Cho,
oh yes.
Incredible Hulk. This is an unfinished, so the top portion is pretty penciled out. It's the bottom portion. I've been trying to get Frank to finish this out for the last few shows, and
You just left him in his jockstrap. Like, he's not even pants.
Just put a bunch of white out down there, and he's in a snowstorm.
maybe I should have you finish it, Ryan. Since
Yeah.
I think that would turn out pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
so I ended up buying this from when Frank had a showing in the Paris gallery. The only issue I had is when they sent it to me, they didn't ship it correctly, and there's a slight bend on the top and on the bottom.
Oh, you can get that pressed out, can't you?
Yeah.
Send it to CGC; they'll fix it.
I was waiting for that. There it is. He is wearing pants. I take that back.
This is before you got your big inked Frank Cho piece, right, Octavio?
Yes. Oh yeah, I got this like oof. Man, I forgot when I got this. This was back before Frank was even selling pieces, because it was at that time he did the show. It was unusual for him to sell any pieces.
Yeah. For the longest time, like, someone would get a little head sketch, and that's all he would do all weekend. And it's just been a lot more accessible lately. I'm a big Cho fan too.
Well, you could show that the Dark Knight piece, because I don't have it down here.
Okay. Well, I was gonna save it for another time, but
Oh, okay, that's fine.
yeah, we'll maybe save it for the Batman episode. And the irony of our collecting group pals will be that you're the special guest for Batman and not Carlo.
Yeah, we'll just rip on Batman, talk about how he's beaten up by a lesbian rutabaga.
Oh, is that why he was so pissed earlier? He's
Probably, yeah. Like, that was like an assault on his family
Oh, I'm sorry, Carlos.
or his make-believe spouse.
Hey, we gotta invite Larry, because Larry has more Batman pieces too, probably.
Well,
Sure.
yeah, and Larry's sitting on, like you said, a ton of stuff he hasn't even shown yet. So, yeah, no, that's pretty great. Well, that I think that just about does it, guys. Octavio, thanks for coming. Sorry to those who stayed tuned. Zaf didn't end up coming on, but don't worry, we harass him constantly, so he'll be back on these soon. Doing some drawing. We're going live tomorrow with Brett Parson, as I mentioned. So it'll just be him drawing the whole time. So anyone wants to to tune into that. He's doing some commissions. Octavio, I think he's doing a couple Hulks.
Is
to
he?
be honest.
Okay.
So
With Zippy Tongue?
he's doing some Hulks. Oh, there'll definitely be some tones in there. He's doing some Hitman Hearts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's got some really cool requests here in the last 2 days too. I got to get back to some guys, but yeah, guys, that's it. So just
Are you doing this next Saturday, Cam?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll kind of be until things change. We'll do kind of things on an ongoing basis. We'll improve the quality and we'll get some stuff.
Learning.
A lot of people have expressed interest in joining us, talking to some artists, talking to some collectors, and going forward. We're doing one Wednesday. It'll be Rossi and Adam. They're gonna probably do some process stuff like we did with Zaf and Troy last week. So Wednesday night will be art and process, and Saturday night will be drinking and banter. I think we'll have artists on here too, but.
Yeah, at least I got Cam to say process twice today, which is good.
Yeah, you're giving me the goods about
I'm gonna ask Mike when his next live stream rock show is. You look like you should be crooning on a guitar right now.
That light, do you know how hard it is to work with that light flicker?
Write a song about it.
It's
look like-
it's worse than the dryer beeping on the other side.
Yeah.
I think Mike's as soon as he leaves the live stream, he's completely forgotten about what just happened. He unlearned and forgets everything immediately.
Yes, exactly.
But so this was just to recap. This was Mike's first ever piece from Troy.
Yeah, first ever original art. It's incredible.
Not bad. Not bad.
Congrats, Mike. That's a nice one.
I'm touched. I did think my favorite birthday present was the membership at the brewery down the street.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but this is better.
Is it? What about the watercolor set I gave you? I want to see that. The paint by numbers.
That was supposed to be used today, but I didn't get
What
there.
8 consecutive skip the dish orders he sent to your house?
Mike, you could turn this art into a shirt to use the watercolors on the shirt.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you'd have to turn it into pants and probably 3 other outfits because he's not big enough to fill out that image.
It could be one of those wraparound shirts.
Yeah, he's just going to have to wrap around the block.
Dylan, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is jackpot, right?
Jackpot.
No, this is
This is
incredible.
actually the first time we've shown this off. Troy
Thank
said we'd refrain from posting until he'll have a scan pasted together tomorrow, so you get a better look at the details. But that's it. That's all, guys. Thanks to everyone for listening, and check us out tomorrow at I'll post. I think it's 2 Eastern time. But it'll be Brett drawn away. And thanks to Octavio, Ryan.
Thanks, Cam.
And
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good night.
You too, guys.
Have a good night.